Well, Prime Minister Mark Carney has released a new defense strategy. The $6.6 billion plan aims to build more military equipment here in Canada, buy materials from Canadian firms, and to increase Canada's defense exports by 50%. That goal is also to create 125,000 new jobs by 2035.
And somehow people are going to find a way to hit on this
announcement, Carney said, quote, "We know that the world has changed and that Canada must change with it."
This strategy is about protecting Canada's sovereignty in its fullest sense. In other words, our ability to act independently in that more dangerous and divided world. And to be clear, this strategic autonomy doesn't mean isolation. It means being strong enough to be a partner of choice rather than a dependent. It means building a domestic defense industrial base so we are never hostage to the decisions of others when it comes to our security. It means diversifying our partnerships so that we're resilient against any single point of failure.
So for more on all of this, let's bring in the CBC's Janice McGregor, who joins us from our parliamentary bureau. So Janice, the Prime Minister focused on three key words: build, partner, buy. How is this meant to work?
Yeah, it's meant to work precisely in that order. Obviously, the main goal here is to give Canada's armed forces the equipment, the materials they need for the defense of Canada and to be engaged around the world. They have been operating at a situation where, frankly, a lot of their gear didn't work, wasn't available when perhaps they would need it on short notice, and something had to change. Step in last fall's federal budget, the billions of dollars that are about to roll out to bring Canada more in line with the spending targets of the NATO alliance. But is there a way to do that and also get some economic bang for the buck for Canada's economy? That's where the build part comes in, because as the Prime Minister himself explained today, when you look at the defense sector versus other kinds of advanced manufacturing, it is more likely to invest in research and development in this country. It is more likely to employ very high-end kind of STEM-type professions. These are valuable, well-paid jobs, and there's a lot in this strategy that speaks to sort of building up Canada as a research hub in a number of areas. For example, recognizing that there's a capability gap in drones, starting up an innovation hub at the National Research Council so there is more expertise in this country, recognizing that drones have become a very important part of warfare. You think about what's happened on the ground in Ukraine. And only moving on if you can't build it yourself after you have exhausted all your available options. There is an acknowledgement, however, that producing and buying things in Canada may impact costs, may make things more expensive, may make things slower. Nevertheless, it will provide strategic value and freedom to operate for Canada, and that is the point. The 1,000 or so firms that operate in the defense sector here in Canada through their industry association have already reacted, calling this an ambitious landmark plan, liking the targets that this sets out, including some legislation that is now expected this spring to set up this independent defense investment agency under the leadership of former banker Doug Guzman. But as they consider what to do when they can't build it themselves, these strategic partnerships around the world, they have also in this strategy laid out the criteria for how to do that. Talking about relationships with the European Union, agreements signed there to make sure that they keep control of essential intellectual property as part of these partnerships, that they make sure there are jobs in Canada, results for Canadian supply chains. And even if, for expediency reasons, they have to straight up buy something from abroad, doing so in a way that the other country would be required to reinvest somehow in this country and give something to Canadians.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of investments going on in Canada because of all the trade deals that Mark Carney has been signing. So I don't think that's a problem
in return. And if you look at sort of current procurements, whether you're talking about fighter jets with Sweden or subs with Korea, you can see already the industry minister pursuing that kind of a strategy.
That is the CBC's Janice McGregor in Ottawa. Thank you.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like Doug Ford slashing the OSAP from 80% to 25% you know, getting rid of the science center for the kids. He's constantly just gutting the educational system. I feel like he's trying to sabotage Mark Carney because Mark Carney's doing all these positive things for Canada. And Doug Ford is pretty much taking a dump on this country, which is crazy because his brother, Rob Ford, was 10 times better than him. He was literally on the opposite side of everything his brother's doing now. So you would almost think he's getting revenge for his brother not being appreciated. Anyways, like the video and subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon.